Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. Today let's talk about what we can expect from August 2021 visa bulletin based on what we have seen in the last couple of months. You might want to check out my previous videos, especially the last two videos where I talk about how the visa numbers are allocated and also how many visa numbers will be wasted this particular year based on the interview with Department of State. I'm also going to talk about the report that USCIS has published to the Congress. They do this every year, and we are going to look at the components that might throw some light on what might happen in the future. So if you're interested in this topic, watch this video until the end and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, before you take any action, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. So now let's look at this Ombudsman report by USCIS that was published just recently and that goes to the Congress. This is a yearly report that USCIS sends to the Congress regarding what are their grievances, what are their issues, and what do they expect. So that kind of throws some light on what to expect in the future. So this is on the DHS website. So as you can see, Citizenship and Immigration Services Ombudsman publishes annual report to Congress, and it is dated just yesterday, so June 30th. So basically this year's report studies the challenges and uncertainties encountered by USCIS and individuals seeking to acquire and maintain their legal immigration status during the COVID-19 pandemic. This report examines those impacts and underscores the importance of continuing to build upon many challenges that already are implemented. So basically, what are the highlights? Let's look at them quickly. A review of USCIS operations during the COVID-19 pandemic, including the impact of COVID-19 it had on backlog levels and the solution USCIS is implementing to address them. So basically they are highlighting the fact that there has been a lot of backlog. So remember, there was no increase in the number of people working at USCIS. So they are operating at the same staff level. In fact, they were operating at a lesser staff level last year because of the pandemic. And this has created a lot of backlog, and USCIS is probably telling the Congress these are the things that they are going to do to kind of alleviate the backlog. The second is the recommendations to address persistent problem associated with issuance of notice to appear and related interagency coordination challenges. So obviously, because of the disruption caused by COVID, there were some challenges between in regards to the communication between these agencies. Then there is a detailed analysis of major processing issues related to I-757, which is petition to remove conditions on residents. So and then an overview of the challenges encountered by naturalization applications seeking medical disability waivers and recommendations to improve the processing of medical certificate for disability exceptions. So that is in particular category of the green card. Recommendations to bridge the gap between USCIS and ICE. So basically more collaboration between these two agencies to better manage international students program, and update on USCIS digital strategy and continuing to complications of online filing and adjudications. So basically now more and more people are working from home, including the USCIS staff. They have to find ways to do a lot of things digitally or online, and they are facing a lot of challenges in that. So those were the kind of things that they have provided. Now there is a link to the full report that I will post in the description, but for the context of my audience, they will highlight the fact that because of the COVID restriction there has been a big backlog, as we already know. They would be telling about the interview waivers and biometric waivers, because they would already have that information from their previous applications and they could reuse for this purpose. And some of the things that they would also expedite in terms of reusing most of the information, such as pulling files from last applications for proof, and then that would result in lesser number of RFEs going out to the individuals, and then thus reducing the entire time frame for alleviating the backlog. So there are a lot of things that they would probably tell the Congress. So I just wanted to give you an overview of what this report kind of consists of. Now let's look at what can we expect from August 2021 visa bulletin. So as you know, we have seen a lot of progress in terms of applications getting approved for I-485 in the employment based category. We saw in the initial couple of months from October to December and January to March, there was not much progression in terms of application processing. We only saw like 48,000 applications from the EB category were processed, whereas there were well over 100,000 applications that were processed from the family based category. Now the question is, what should we expect to see in the next 2 quarters? So the third quarter is already finished, so it was till end of June. We will never get to see the numbers in time for predicting what would happen in the fourth quarter. But let's say they processed the applications at double the speed. Instead of 25,000, they might have processed 50 to 60,000 in 1 month, and then they will process another 50 to 60,000 in the next month. So in total they will be processing well over 150,000 applications, say 160,000 applications in the last remaining months. So which still puts them into the situation where they will be wasting about 100,000 visas. That's just my guesstimate. So for the August visa bulletin, what I see is EB1 will still remain current. So now let's look at the comparison what happened last month. So if you can see the final action dates of June visa bulletin versus the July visa bulletin, which is on the right, as you can see, the EB1 will remain current throughout, so there is going to be no change in EB1. EB2, from June to July, we saw 6 months of progression, or actually 7 months of progression for India, and for EB3, 14 months of progression for EB3 category. So I would continue to see this trend. I would see that the EB2 date for final action might progress by another 6 months, and EB3 date, so these dates are supposed to go until the filing dates chart date. Now if you notice, the filing date chart dates have also been progressing. So for India, say for instance, they have progressed from August to December. So what Department of State did, they actually progressed the filing date chart for EB2 from August to December of 2011, and I expect to see that progression in August and September visa bulletin as well. For EB3 as well, they did a 1 month of progression for filing date. So what it means is, we heard from Charlie as well, when they change these dates in the filing date chart, it could take up to 8 to 12 months for a final action date chart to catch up with this date. So what it means is, we should still consider the previous dates for this year. So say for instance, the EB3 will still go towards February of 2014 instead of any further, and EB2 will go until February EB2 will go until 1st of December 2011 at the end of the year, which is end of September. I would still say that in the next 2 months, it is a very likely chance that EB2 will progress by another 4 to 6 months, and EB3 will progress by up to a year, because these dates have to catch up with the filing date chart date that were mentioned in June visa bulletin. Remember, in the July visa bulletin, they have progressed those dates, but those may not be reached until next 8 to 12 months. So that was kind of what I wanted to talk about in this video. So we expect to see EB2 India dates progress from 4 to 6 months in the next visa bulletin, which is August, and also EB3 India to progress by at least a year in the next visa bulletin, which is August visa bulletin. Now what remains to be seen is how many of these people who are already current as per the filing date chart actually get the green card. Now you might want to check out my video in terms of how the allocation is done, because the allocation is done to the earliest priority date, not the latest. So say for instance, there are 2 people who have their priority dates current in the same visa category, say EB2. The one with earlier priority date is likely to get their green card sooner than the one with the later priority date. So if you have any further section, or if you want me to deep dive into any particular topic of 485, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to make a video out of it. If you like the content of this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I will see you in the next one.